Let's talk about Bindrunes and Runewords. These are some ways that you can creatively use the Elder Futhark alphabet to its full magical potential. Essentially, we're going to take an idea, concept, or intention, and then encapsulate it as best we can as a symbol, as a visual representation. It's kind of like turning a word into a sigil, but instead of using the regular alphabet, we're going to use runes. So first, let's decide on what magical intention we want to work with today. I think something that a lot of people turn to magic for is money and prosperity. We'll just go with that because it's applicable to like 90% of people in existence. I'll show you both a rune word and a bindrune for this intention, and we'll start with the rune word. A rune word is when you just list the runes in a series, usually from left to right, because that's the direction we read, but you can go vertical if you really wanted to as well. And you might also call this technique a rune script. Doesn't really matter what you call it, as long as you get the basic idea of what to do. The cool thing about a rune word is that it lets you map out exactly how you want the energy to flow from start to finish. So pay close attention to the first rune in the series and the last rune in the series. I'm going to use Fehu, Othala, and Wunyo in that order, and I'll tell you why. Fehu is often used to increase whatever else it is attached to. It's also wealth and money. That's where my intention starts, and I want that energy to flow right through Othala, my property, my possessions, bringing me an increase of prosperity, which finally leaves me with Wunyo, happiness, joy. After all, what's the point in having increased wealth if it doesn't leave you feeling happy? So that's my rune word, and I'll just write it in a sequence left to right. And if I was actually putting this to use in the real world, I would probably intone or vibrate each rune or something like that too. Actually, you know what? I could really use a little extra cash right now, so I am going to do that. I'll be right back. Thank you. So I used 3 runes for this. There's really no limit to how many runes you can use, although I will say that 3 tends to work really well. 5 works well. 7 works, but it starts to get a little crowded, and I am sticking to odd numbers because that's my personal preference. Also, it doesn't always have to be all different runes. You can use the same rune more than once if you like. So I could have also done something like Fehu, 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 but I really dig the way that this one came out. Let's turn it into a bindrune. A bindrune is when you combine or superimpose runes over top of one another to create a new symbol. You can draw and redraw things until you have something that you're happy with. You don't want to do this chaotically, though. It's important that they fit together harmoniously. There's a bit of a caveat to that, of course, because what I find aesthetically pleasing, you might find ugly. Bindrunes are personal symbols, so I guess the best way I can put it is this. You should look at your bindrune, and you should like it. If you don't like it, or it feels unfinished, then it's not done, and you may need to keep playing around with it until it does feel finished. Christiana Gaudet and I recently discussed some of this on our Weird Wednesday series, by the way. We took the same idea and then went our separate ways, independently designing our own bindrune. And then later, we came back and showed each other what we had come up with. Interestingly enough, we ended up using most of the same runes, but very, very different designs. You should go check out that live stream. It was a lot of fun. But for now, let's take the runes for our prosperity intention and turn them into a bindrune. And you're going to watch me draw it so you can understand the process. Okay, so I have Fehu, Othala, and Wunyo. Let's see how I might combine these. Now, my first inclination is to use Othala as a central rune. Maybe I can fit Fehu in there? Like that? And there would be Wunyo as well. So that would work. I don't know if I really like that though. Let me try another one. I still like using Othala as the central rune. I'm gonna do something like this. Maybe if I envision it, rotate it a little bit, and then my Fehu is coming off the side like that. Ooh, almost like little wings. And then I will mirror that. Okay. And then for making Wunyo, we'll come right down the center. Okay. Yeah, I think I like that. That is where I'm going to go with it. Oh, and because I'm super extra, I'm going to make a digital version too. So I'm just going to jump right into Canva here and create a new design. I'll do 1000 by 1000 pixels because that will leave me enough room to work with things. And we shall call this project Prosperity Bindrune. Okay, I'm going to speed through everything. Obviously, you don't need to watch it frame by frame. Let me get some lines going. And I'll start with the bottom of Othala, just some 45-degree angle lines. The bottom kind of looks like Gibbo. Put 2 more lines here, make everything central, and tidy some of this up. By the way, as I go through this and start adding the additional runes, see if you can pick out just how many other rune forms become apparent in the image. All right, I'll put in 2 lines for Fehu on each side. And I think what's really interesting about this process is that it shows how you can combine something that is really ancient with something that is fairly modern. And finally, a central line down the middle to create the form of Wunyo. Okay, let me make this look just a little bit prettier. I'll increase the line size and tidy things up a bit. And maybe give this a little color. Green for prosperity? Yeah. Green on what color though? Something that contrasts. Maybe orange? Okay, darker green and a lighter orange. And just for fun, let's put everything inside a circle. Once this is done, I'll link the image on my Patreon if you'd like to go download it and do something with it, by the way. Okay, this is my completed Bindrune, and yeah, I'm happy with this. So now you've seen 2 different ways of manipulating the runes, and you can pretty much use these techniques for any type of intention as long as you understand all of the different things that the runes themselves can represent. Like, for instance, if I had the intention of getting more subscribers on YouTube, I might throw something together like this. Of course, you could just help me with that by clicking the like and subscribe button here, and that way you'll be notified when I make more videos about runes. Just a thought. But you could also use runes for fertility, or to facilitate communication, or for healing, or really for anything. You're only limited by what you can think of. So if you've got a specific intention that you want to explore through runes, tell me about it in the comments and maybe we'll look into it together. Aside from that, check out some of my other videos or go to wherever else YouTube wants you to go. And until next time, stay tuned for more.